Hey VC, hey New Wavers, it's Shad with Vinyl New Wave. I'm coming to you this week with a video showing you some of my recent pickups over the last 6 or 8 weeks or so. Then also wanted to show you what I picked up at Third Man Records in Detroit this last weekend. So let's dive right in. First record that I picked up is a 12-inch single for a band called Orchestra. And the song is called Sample That. This was when sampling was really first pretty new, and this song has just got a whole bunch of different samples. It's just the whole song built out of samples. This was actually the only record that Orchestra released. They did this 12-inch, and then there was another 12-inch, which was the same song with just different remixes and versions of it, and a different cover. I thought I had this one in my collection, but for some reason I did not, and so when I saw it I picked it up. The vinyl is in pretty good shape, but the record's got some kind of, I don't know, something got spilt on it, but I'm pretty happy to get this back into my collection. Yeah, it got some club play back in the mid to late 80s. It had some pretty popular. It was pretty popular. All right. Next up is a record by a band that I had in another video not too long ago. It's the Screaming Blue Messiahs. My last video, the album was the album with Wanna Be a Flintstone on it. This one is called Gun Shy, and it has a song called The Wild Blue Yonder on it, which was a single, and I actually remember hearing that song on the radio back in the 80s. So they had at least, a couple songs that got airplay other than Wanna Be a Flintstone. But yeah, this was actually a really good album. I listened to this all the way through a little while ago, and it's actually really a good, solid album. There's not, I wouldn't say they're hits, all of them are hits or anything, but it's a good, solid rock album. So if you get a chance to pick this one up, do it. It's a pretty good one. This copy was still sealed, so and it's in perfect condition. So I was really happy to pick that one up. This next one is a record that a lot of you have. It's Madonna's debut album, Madonna. I actually never owned this album. And actually I don't think I even owned any singles off of this album, but they really remind me of like junior high. That's when this album had come out, was just right around my 7th or 8th grade year, and man, the songs were everywhere. Lucky Star and Borderline and Holiday, just all really great tunes. So I was glad to finally pick this one up. It's not in the best of shape. It's got quite a bit of popping and surface noise even after some cleaning. So it might be a candidate to try something like wood glue or something. But then again, maybe I'll just see if I can find a cleaner copy. This next one was actually, I was really excited to see it in the rack in the bin, and because this song was just nothing but scandal back in the day. I think my parents hated it, and pretty much every parent back in the 80s hated it. It was Let's Go All the Way by Sly Fox. Just a good song about getting dirty. And so I was really excited to get it. I got it home and pulled it out and put it on the turntable and turned it on, and Let's Go All the Way comes on, and oh yeah, let's go all the way. That was really good. And then I let it play into the rest of the record, and I tell you folks, the rest of this record is just garbage. The songs are just really vanilla, plain, nothing special about them. They're just not that great at all. So it's easy to see why Sly Fox was a one-hit wonder, because the rest of the songs just totally sucked. I would have been better off spending my money on just a single for Let's Go All the Way. But the next one is by a British band called Living in a Box. And the album is Living in a Box, and the single off of the album is also called Living in a Box. It's a really great soulful. They've got that British soul sound from the early to mid '80s. It's I don't know how to describe it. You got the Rick Astley's, and and even Culture Club had kind of that soul sound, that British soul sound, and this album has that. The hit obviously is "Living in a Box," and there's a good chance you've heard it before. It got pretty big. I didn't recognize when I listened to it. I didn't recognize any of the other songs off the album, but they're all pretty good. It's a good album listen. It's definitely one that I'll pull out again at some point and listen all the way through, not just on one song. So, do you remember back in the 80s after the Toy Dolls broke up and Buster Poindexter got weird? Yeah, it's Hot, Hot, Hot by Buster Poindexter. I had to buy it. I saw it and I had to buy it. And it's actually in really good shape. It's got 4 different remixes of it. It's got the club mix, the 7-inch mix, Caliente dub mix, and the Spanish club mix. Yeah, it's a fun little tune. Nothing like Toy Dolls at all. Or, not Toy Dolls. New York Dolls. Nothing like New York Dolls at all. But, yeah. Buster Poindexter. Now, this album I absolutely love. I heard, it's Mojo, Nixon, and Skid Roper, Bo-Day-Shus. And the lead song on here is called Elvis is Everywhere. And the song is just amazing. I mean, the whole album is really good. It's just kind of making fun of itself. I Ain't Gonna Piss in No Jar, the Polka Polka, I'm Gonna Dig Up Howlin' Wolf, Gin Guzzlin' Frenzy, Barbecue USA. I mean, just silly songs to just a really fast, kind of rockabilly beat. It's just an amazing album. I love it. And the reason I bought it was for Elvis is Everywhere. I had heard that song, I don't know how many times over the 80s and stuff, and I never really knew who sang it until a couple of years ago. They played it on First Wave on Sirius XM, and I gotta have that song, and found out and Shazammed it real quick. I found out, it's Mojo, Nixon, and Skid Roper. So I added that to my want list and have kind of really kept an eye out for it for, ever since then for a couple of years. And finally was at the record store and flipping through the bins, and lo and behold, here it is. And it's in great shape. It wasn't sealed, but it might as well have been. It plays absolutely clean. There's no surface noise, no pops, no hiss. Anything like that. It just plays immaculately. And so I think I've already played this record like 5 or 6 times because it's just so great. So just remember, when everything's going down in the Bermuda Triangle, Elvis needs boats. Okay. Next on my list, on my stack here, was Nick Lowe's Labor of Lust. I don't have any other Nick Lowe in my collection. I've kind of wanted some for quite some time, but just never really saw any that I thought I should pick up. And so, flipping through the bins, and there it was. They had actually 2 copies of this. I picked up the the one that was in better shape. This is the one that has Cruel to Be Kind on it, which is an amazing song. And you know what? I listened to the rest of the album, and the rest of the album's pretty good too. So I was really happy to pick up Nick Lowe's Labor of Lust. And then, and finally for my used pickups, this is an album by a group called Belouis Some. The album is called Some People. The lead single off this was called is Some People. Pretty popular synth pop. Is definitely more of a synth pop sound. Some People. And there's also a song called Imagination, which on here that's really good, was another single for them. So Belouis some, if you get a chance, give them a listen. They're pretty good. So that's it for my used pickups that I've actually been able to listen to almost all of them already, because I've worked from home a few days the last few weeks. But also, like I said, this last weekend I went to Detroit to Michigan for a wedding. The wedding wasn't in Detroit; it was in a city west of Lansing, a little town called Portland. But we stayed with my brother-in-law and sister-in-law in the Detroit area, and so I had my brother-in-law drive me into Third Man Records in Detroit, and I picked up a few items. I just wanted to show them to you. So first off, a 7-inch single of these first two are 7-inch singles from their Live at Third Man series, and this one is Tom Jones doing Evil and Jezebel. Live at Third Man, Jack White plays like the guitar, and Jack White's playing the guitar on these. I have this weird weak spot for Tom Jones. I think it stems back to his collaboration with Art of Noise on the cover of Prince's Kiss. And I love Tom Jones. I think he's like, I don't know, any man who can go on stage with like an afro and sing really cheesy songs and get women to throw their underwear at him is pretty cool in my book. So I picked this one up, and it doesn't disappoint. It's Tom Jones, which is awesome. And the other one that I picked up was Kate Pierson live at Third Man. Kate Pierson is in B-52s, is one of the female singers in B-52s, and she did a cover of Venus, which I don't know who the original artist that did that one was, but the Bananarama also did a cover of Venus, so it's the same song as the Bananarama one, but it's just Kate Pierson singing it in her tinny voice. And it's pretty good. I haven't listened to the record yet. I listened to it online. And then also Radio in Bed. And Jack White is also playing the guitar on this. So pick those two 7-inches up. And you can't go to Third Man Records without buying a Jack White record. So I picked up the latest from the Raconteurs. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but it's just getting rave reviews. Some people saying it's like the best album of 2019 and stuff like that. So I figured I should get it, and so I did. This is just a black vinyl version. It's not anything special, but I was kind of excited to hopefully get to listen to it here in the next 2 days. Maybe. It looks like I'm going to be working from home tomorrow, so I'll probably listen to it tomorrow. And then finally, last week, Third Man Records announced on their social media that they were doing a special run for the Stooges' first album's 50th anniversary. So this is a limited edition pressing of the Stooges album with 1969, I Want to Be Your Dog, and various other hits. And it is on yellow vinyl, or gold vinyl, since gold, its 50th is the gold and anniversary. And it's got this cool Third Man label on it. And it's a 2-disc, 2 LP set. The first is the album, and then the second is a whole bunch of alternate versions and alternate vocals. And you know, it's a cool thing. It's they only made I don't know, maybe a couple hundred of them. The only way you can buy it is to go physically into the Third Man Record store in Detroit, or they did have some, I think, in Nashville as well. And they also had released, like, there was a book about the Stooges that some guy had written, and they had, like, Iggy Pop autographed them, and they had an exclusive 7-inch that came with that, but it was like $250. I'm not gonna mess with that, but I'll pick up the album because I don't have this album, and I've been getting into Iggy Pop and the Stooges stuff lately. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a really limited edition thing, and it just so happened to be there when I was there, so I picked it up. Yeah, so there you have it. There's a chunk of my big chunk of my recent pickups. I hope you liked seeing these records. If you like the records that I showed, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And hopefully I'll have another video here for you at the end of the week. I don't know. I got to think about some things, catch up. We'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching. And until next time, you spin me around like a record, baby.